Hey guys, well, it's been a little while. I wanted to give you just another update on the move. Well, not a whole lot to tell you except that I've got everything up here, got everything moved. I've had for the last week. I've been up here totally. Got all my prized possessions up here, and so I'm on vacation this week. So that was convenient. So I've been spending time putting up some things like my bird feeder poles and pressure washed the walk and the porch and stuff like that, doing those things. But what I've been spending a whole lot of time on is trying to get things thrown away, given away, donated, whatever, that I don't need anymore. I was looking through some videos. I was making putting a video together that I'm going to post as soon as the internet people get here this week and do the internet, which that'll be later, but for now I'm having to use a cell phone. But anyway, so I was looking at an old video of the old house down there, and I was just shocked myself at how much junk I had stuffed in that house. So I said, no more, not doing that again. So I've been just making the cuts where the cuts had to be made, and the truck is loaded up over here with stuff I'm going to take to the Goodwill down in Huntsville, because it's a big one. I don't think there is one up here. And some recycles. Got oil. This is like a couple years worth of oil that's going to be dumped off at one of the parts stores. They say they take it, so I hope they do. This is a filing cabinet. This filing cabinet was stuck in one of those bedrooms down there, and I was using this thing for like a parts storage to put like spare parts and things like that in it, and it's just terrible. It's terrible for that. It's the worst thing you can use one of these for, because things get stuck in here and then you forget about them being in here because they're out of sight, out of mind, and you don't know that you have it. So you end up looking for it and you don't think you have it anymore, and you go buy another one. So I've found things I've bought duplicates of, and so that's not going to work any longer. So this thing is going to the Goodwill. If they want it, fine. If they don't, they can just throw it away. I got a box full of cardboard and plastics, all these boxes that are under there that I moved in. Look at this. These two totes here are stuff that's like household stuff, like extra plates, stuff like that. Glasses, I had, 3 or 4 different kinds of glasses, plates, all this stuff for one person, like way overkill. And it wasn't necessarily that I went and obtained this stuff on my own. What it is I had two households that I inherited stuff out of. One was my grandmother's, and then one was my parents'. So too many plates, too many dishes. I think there's most of a set of whole dinnerware in there, which is I think this is it here, this type stuff. And it's worth it to collectors. Somebody will find that at Goodwill and they'll love it. But there's the ugliest set of plates I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why my parents ever bought those, but they liked them. And then just junk, these candle lights and books and things like that. A lot of these books I bought at some point, but I'm not interested in them anymore. I haven't read them in years, so I've got enough books I like to keep in there to fill up a good-sized bookshelf still. So it's no big loss there. The thing is, you have to remember about giving away things like this is that you got to try to move beyond saying, "Well, I'm not going to have it anymore." You need to get beyond thinking of it like that and start thinking of, hey, this is going to give somebody else an opportunity to have something. Sometimes you just have to push things on down the road and move them on and donate them and give them and all that, because you can't sell the stuff. So anyway, we spent, I guess it was last weekend, which I'd like to also call the weekend from hell, getting all these vehicles up here. We towed the Plymouth Valiant, we towed the convertible Plymouth, which is locked away in there, with this thing, and it did okay. This truck's, I put about 500 or 600 miles on it just going back and forth up here, and it just went through the gas like crazy, and it's underpowered, and it's just too small of a truck to be doing much of that with, because when we had the U-Haul trailer on it, it was the back end was like so far down that it just wouldn't, you didn't have much clearance, so we had to be careful. And then of course the U-Haul trailer that we rented, we didn't look at it close enough, but it had a tire with a bubble on it, so we were sitting on the edge of the seat waiting for it to blow out, which it never did. But after that, it was rainy and muddy and just a swamp down there in that old yard down there at that old place. And there's the Oldsmobile right there. We said, to hell with it. We're just going to have that thing towed up here on the wrecker. So that's what we did. Me and Uncle Phil, he was helping me. So they're all here. We drove the Plymouth up here. He drove it up under its own power. Did fine. So I've been going through everything. I'll give you a garage tour here pretty soon. But I'm still working on it. But if you're wondering what's going on right here, I dug around. I noticed this garage, we had a lot of rain this weekend and first part of the week, and it was getting a little bit of water in the floor running in. So what I was doing was, this had grass and everything grown up along the side of it where the foundation is, so I dug that out and trying to make it drain down through there. So that, and over by the house, same deal over there. So I'm probably gonna have to do a bit more of that, but we'll keep the water out of my garage. And so doing that, was pressure washed the side of the house back here on the north side where it's got a lot of mold and mildew growing on it. I don't think it'd been washed in a long time. It still needs to be washed, which I'll do that at some point possibly. This house was, like I said, this house was totally renovated about 8 years ago. I mean, they spent some money on it, so I don't know that the landlords are doing that much to keep it maintained. But this is the back 40 back here. This is where all my stuff is. It's stuff that, I'm going to need at some point. I always do. Tarps, engine holder, good set of 15-inch GM large boat pattern wheels, my rally wheels, bird feeders, ladders, So anyway, it's back here out of sight, so look like trash from the road up there. And anyway, that's about the gist of it. A lot of train action here. If any of you are train buffs like I am, I've never got into that on this channel, but I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and either do it on this channel or do it on the other one. But I'd say probably 12 to 15 trains a day at least come by here, and it's down in that where that tree line is. I mean, not very far down there at all. I'd say 700 feet, something like that from here. So when they're coming this way, when they're coming south, they're working hard. They're in run 8 all the way past here, so they're moving slow and working hard. And then when they come north, it's on the downslope, I guess, and they're just coasting. But 95% of it's been GEVO stuff, GE locomotives, and then the other 5% has been, I've heard a couple EMD units, but not much. So we'll get up in town and film some of those at some point. And it was cold yesterday. It's warmed up today. It's about 60 today, and I just saw the first flight of geese heading north out here. So they're a harbinger of spring to come, hopefully. We get the house settled. We're going to get back on these car projects now. This one's probably going to be first. And I'm also happy to say that the birds also made the move. I saw them here this morning, so they made it just fine. Now, I'm only kidding about that. They're not the same birds, but I like to think that I don't know, maybe they know them or something, But this field was covered up with a lot of cowbirds out there, but there was probably 50 robins out here, and several blue jays. I've never seen blue jays that many at one time, especially I didn't down at the old house. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up and get on the road and go make a trip back to Hunts Vegas. I'm trying to stay out of there as much as possible, and we'll see you soon. I'm gonna work through this stuff, doing this stuff around here this vacation week, and then I may make a little road trip last couple days, a little mini vacation, and then hopefully the internet gets back up. I've signed up for what they call the bronze package, which gives me 2 terabytes of data per month. So and the fastest speeds they got, so it'll give me plenty of opportunity to do video stuff, which is what it's all about. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. See you soon. Hey guys, what's up? Well, you wonder what I do for a day job. This is part of what I do. I'm building a new light bulb section. I'm setting shelves. I'm cutting pegboard for up here, things like that. So this is what I do. This is what I do to pay the bills, I guess you would say. So anyway, see you guys. So we're driving along on some of the original 1960s concrete on I-65 South here. Now I say 1960s, I'm not too sure about that actually, because they opened this part of I-65 up in different stages. So this may actually be a lot later than that, maybe up in the early 80s, but they've scraped this down because they've paved it in the past over the concrete, which I think was a mistake, because you can still see the concrete's in good shape. It's just that concrete is a lot harder to repair when it starts breaking up, because you have to lay a whole new section. So the state of Alabama's too cheap to do that, I guess, or just whoever has to pay for it. This is what you heard on the old concrete interstates. Those of you who live where there still are some of these, you still hear this, but it's rare around here though.
Hi.
All right, Phil, tell everybody the news, the bad news. Something blue.
Yeah, something blue. You got that right. That blue radiator. You didn't get rid of it fast enough.
Yep, Phil keeps hanging on to this thing, trying to get it paid off. So it's bending you over some more. Now we got to have a radiator for it, because he said he came home and it had blown coolant and everything. It was started steaming when he was in town doing some errands, and he got home and there was coolant and stuff everywhere. Of course, Phil's checking the tightness of everything over there too, of course. But give the hose a yank. There you go. I know you want to. Feel better now? So anyway, what basically happened, can I borrow your nut? There you go. Thank you. No, I don't need that. I'm just going to show them real quick. And we got to go, bud, because we're hot on time today. But the seam in the radiator up here is let go, where the seal is. So, got that radiator. And that ain't the only problem. Look at this. Look at this over here, where this thing's been gobbled back together.
Yeah.
Phil, if you want expensive vehicles like this, you gotta pay to play, bud.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to go on, so we'll see you soon. I noticed something interesting here. I thought the idle speed was sticking up for some reason. The choke was sticking on this Grand Fury. But watch what happens when I turn off the, let me turn this thing off here. Here it's kind of idled up. Watch what happens when I turn off the defroster, the rear defrost. It idles down. If I turn it on, hit the gas. I guess it's staying up, idles it up so that the charging system, which is pretty inadequate in these anyway, will keep the battery charged enough at idle. If you're sitting there like I am with it just idling. See, foot is not on the gas. Crazy, huh? See you guys. Well, I'll be having to do some banking here on Friday afternoon. So I stopped by this bank branch here of my bank. And this will be located up in sort of northwest Huntsville. It's the only closest one around without having to go all the way across the city, which I'm not about to do on a Friday. I only came to Huntsville because I had no other alternative. And make a couple observations about this bank, or at least one, being where it's located. Nah, that ain't it. But anyway, this thing has inch-thick bulletproof glass all the way across the front where the tellers are. None of the other BBVA Compass branches around here have that, but this one does. It has a loud doorbell that rings when you open the door up. It goes ding ding. And I walked in, and one of the ladies on the counter said, "Welcome to Compass." And this guy standing at the counter doing his banking said, "Welcome to Compass." So I was like, yeah, it's time for me to get on the road out of Huntsville again. So I came down to Athens today to run a few errands. One thing I had to do is buy a garbage can, and I stopped in for gas here. You remember these kind of pumps that you have to actually look at the numbers rotating? Well, there's a old-time gas station still here. It's old now, but that's the way they all used to be. Remember, they used to have soda machines right there, probably. And the gas here is $2.29 a gallon. And over there at that Valero station, where everybody congregates in and flocks in and buys everything, it's 10 cents more expensive. But they won't shop here because you can't put your card in at the pump. Everybody looks at this and says, "Oh my gosh, you mean I've got to go in and pay for my gas?" So, you know, hey, oops, sorry about that. Whacked you with a seatbelt. Do that if you want to, but I'm going to save money, and I don't mind having to get out and walk in and pay for it in cash, which I just did. It's the way it all used to be. Turned into a bunch of wusses, I guess. See, there they are. Oh, they're happy as can be over there. Got the big motorhome in, and boy, they're filling up that gas. You know, hey, it's worth 10 cents paying 10 cents more a gallon, because you get to go in there and get a soda and some chips, some Skull, and some cigarettes, and all the bullshit people waste their money on these days. I'm gonna remember this service station, because if I come down here, I'm gonna stop here every time I need gas. By the way, check out these old-fashioned street lamps here with the I guess those are the guy wires holding them in position, so to speak. This is interesting because this is a new alignment of US 31 through Athens. US 31 used to cross right here. It came from this direction from downtown, and it crossed right here, and this road off to the right there, which is now Alabama 251, is what used to be US 31 back in the 1950s, and then later on they four-laned US 31 this direction, and actually they four-laned it, and it's over part of what is now Interstate 65 north of Athens. So it started out, it was not Interstate 65 originally. It was the 1960s four-lane alignment of US 31 out this way. So that's what we're on. I'll tell you another thing while I'm just yakking. I wish I knew why people felt the need to put like stuff like Monster Energy decals on their trucks and cars and stuff. You know, the people that sell that stuff, they love you when you do that, because you give them free advertising. That shows how dumb people are sometimes to me, because not only do you pay to buy the products, but you give them free advertising because you want to look cool because you got a Monster Energy decal on the back of your truck. So check this guy out. I can get up here. Hey man, I drink Monster Energy drinks. See how much I weigh? Get the old Alabama sticker on there. Yeah. So this has kind of been reworked a little bit. Normally this would go just due straight, but when they extended the interstate southward from this spot right here, they redid this interchange, I guess, put a bridge or two in. Yep. Oh, I better not say anything. Somebody get mad at me. God damn it. Come on, let's go. Let's kick it in. Punch it. That's all she had. All right, guys. See you later. Check this out. There's a tunnel here that's only one lane under the railroad tracks, and in order to get traffic through without potentially having a head-on collision, it's got traffic lights on it. So I guess it's not worth the volume of traffic, even though this is the exit off the interstate. The volume of traffic is not sufficient to warrant rebuilding this. There's another one down somewhere down here the other way. So you can go into town that way there, but I'm not going to go that way. This is the local high school. This railroad track that we're talking about on the left here, this is the, I believe this is S and NA North subdivision. That was called the South and North Alabama, which was many years ago absorbed into L&N, which in turn went into Family Line System, which in turn went into CSX, which it is today, and this thing is quite busy. Oops. right, guys. See you later.